This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time. Content presented in the following podcast is for information purposes only. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guest and may not represent the views and opinions of the Whole Care Network. Always consult with your physician for any medical advice, and always consult with your attorney for any legal advice. And thank you for listening to the Whole Care Network.
Hello, my friend. Welcome to A Time to Care the Caregivers podcast. This is Isabel Melgarejo, your host. Do you have a night routine? If yes or no, let's find out. Let's get started. This week, I was working with a client and we were talking about morning and night routines. And I think for most of us, it's easier having a morning routine than having a night routine. Having morning routine, it's kind of easy. We just wake up and we have a set of steps that we follow. And that doesn't necessarily happen when we're talking about a night routine. That can be very, very, very messy. We were talking about a night routine and what's important to do during this time. I want to share with you what I recommended her. So first of all, your night routine starts when you decide when work or school is over. That's the time in which your night routine starts. If you are a full-time caregiver, then probably your night routine starts as you wake up. Just kidding. If you're a full-time caregiver, then your night routine stops whenever your work as a caregiver ends. And I know that this is probably it never ends because I'm up all night making sure that nothing happens. So you still have a time in which your daily activities are over for the most part, and it's time to start winding up to go to sleep. That's when your night routine starts. A fun thing about night routines is that for the most part, these routines are about the following day. They are about getting ready for the next day. So we wash the dishes, we get everything cleaned up, we get the kids ready for school, we put away things. So it is a lot of home, not homework as in schoolwork, but doing work at home to get ourselves ready for the next day. We usually forget two things. One is to do something for ourselves and doing something that we really enjoy for ourselves. And the second thing is to share our day with someone that we love. Those two things are things that we need to consider and that we should start exploring in our day-to-day lives. First of all, sharing with someone, and the second one, doing something for us. And how does these two items look like? Well, the first one, sharing with someone, it can look in 1,000,000,000 ways. You can call a good friend or call someone that you love. You can have dinner with family. You can go out with friends, whatever it is. It can be anything. And why is this so important? Well, because we are getting very isolated. Being very isolated, well, it's not good. It's not good for any of us to be isolated. So that's why it is good to share that a little piece of our evening with someone that we love. And it can be anything, but just take the time and be present in the moment when you share something. And if you are an introvert and you come back home from being out there with people, maybe you want to just close yourself to the world. And I completely understand that you might want to do that. I would still recommend to connect with someone, even if it's a very quiet way, but just to let someone know that you're there. And if you really, really don't feel like connecting, then don't. This is just what I'm recommending, but you can do whatever, you can do you. I find for me that connecting with someone, even though I'm an introvert, really sets my day, and just having someone tell me that they love me and telling someone back that I love them really closes my day. And that is all you need. Just a short conversation and letting someone know that you love them. And then I'll go to step number 2 in a night routine, that is doing something for yourself. Doing something for yourself is paying attention to your body and giving your body what your body needs. And it can be anything. What I find interesting is that we don't take the time ever to pay attention to what our bodies are saying to us. And sometimes they are yelling at us that they need some time off. I was in conversations with another company about doing some work together, and we were talking a couple of days ago about these Facebook groups with caregivers. And this person was telling me that he had gone to a Facebook group and that he was shocked because he had found this person who had had a heart attack, and it was such an inconvenience because she needed to go back to her caregiving role. Like, seriously, how loud does your body need to be for you to understand that you need to take care of yourself? She had a heart attack and it was an inconvenience. What's gonna be next? Just asking. So we have our buddies telling us all the time what we need, and we don't pay attention to them. And this was an extreme, but sometimes we don't have to fall into extremes. Sometimes we just need to pay attention to our body and understand what we need. Sometimes it's peace of quiet or just being in the moment, paying attention to what we're eating and actually enjoying our dinners. Maybe it is reading and disconnecting from the world through a book that we love. Maybe it's stretching and letting our bodies get loose. Maybe it's even doing heavy exercise and sweating. It can be a lot of things. A lot of things that we can do. But if we don't pay attention to our bodies and what our bodies are telling us to give them, then we won't be able to give them what we need to give them. Once we have paid attention to our bodies and we know what our bodies need, the next thing is obviously giving our bodies what they want and need in that moment. And pay attention to this because this is crucial. Whatever it is, make sure that you practice mindfulness while giving that to your body. Hey, I feel like having something sweet. Okay, I'm gonna go to the pantry. I'm gonna serve myself a cup of ice cream, which probably was not in the pantry because otherwise it would have been melted already. And then I'm gonna sit down in front of the TV, watch TV, and I'm not even gonna pay attention to the ice cream. If that's what you need, then you're going to sit down for 5 minutes and enjoy that ice cream and enjoy every single scoop of it. Pay attention to the flavors, to the consistency, to how it looks, to how it smells. If you're exercising, pay attention to your muscles and how they stretch, and how you feel, and on how those exercises feel on your body. Pay attention to absolutely everything. If you're watching yourself in a mirror, then pay attention to how those exercises look on you. If you decide to watch a sunset, then go outside quiet and just enjoy it. Pay attention to the colors. Pay attention to the sounds. Are there birds? Are there other animals out there making noise? Or maybe kids playing on the streets? That's it. Be mindful in the moment and enjoy it. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure sharing with you. And I'm surprised it's been more than a year that I've been running this podcast. I know some of you have been following me since the beginning of this podcast, and I'm so grateful that you have been here for the ride. So thank you so much. If you want the list with things that you can do for you to feel better for your night routine, go ahead, send me an email to hello@tomcore.com. You can go to the show notes and you're going to see the email there. Send me an email and I'll send you a list with things that you can do as a night routine. Awesome. Talk to you next time.
This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time.